I represent coastal communities. So we are not opposed to that road. My people are not opposed to the construction of that road, even though we are saying that the construction should be concurrent.
Said there's serious concern, especially from our constituents, on the abandoned roads that we all have everywhere. So I'm also concurring with my friends, with my colleagues, the aspect of completing. You can imagine Abuja to Minna is still not completed.
And for those of you that are talking about roads that are already under construction, quite honestly, this particular road I'm talking about is going to be an easy route to anybody going to the north from Lagos, because it's going to reduce the time of traveling between Lagos to Sokoto by about 4 hours.
The minister addressed the community members' concerns, assuring them that the federal government has not abandoned any ongoing project. He emphasized that the country has historically underinvested in infrastructure development and that efforts are being made to address the issue.
Go to one essential reality, that the decision that we should confront our reality once and for all, and without playing blame game, is a commendable one. Is an act of statesmanship by President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are suffering the consequences of underinvestment in almost everything in our national life.
In his closing remarks, Senator Olamilekan Solomon announced that the government has the full capacity to finance the 2024 budget with approximately 2 trillion naira allocated for capital development funds.
One important question that was also asked is about the financing the budget. That we have a budget already. What is the situation with the budget performance with the addition of this? But I want to assure you that as far as financing the budget is concerned, we all know that as far as the current expenditure is concerned, there have not been any default anywhere. The government have put structure in place to finance the capital component of the budget. As at the last count, I'm fully aware that the Capital Development Fund has contained in it about 2 trillion naira.
The recent inflation rate of 34.19%, according to the 2024 statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), has again triggered anxiety among Nigerians amid rising food costs. This has also in many ways affected every areas of human endeavors in Nigerian food chain system. In this report, our correspondent Dele Fason takes a look at the implications of the continuous rise amid food price increase. The report.
The rise in Nigeria's inflationary trend has been a major concern for the Nigerian economy, with the Nigerian government always in the news of finding a lasting solution to the menace without result. An economist and a member of the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce and Industry said the rise in inflation is a clear indice of hardship.
In Nigeria today, it is no more news to us that inflation rate is galloping, particularly those of food prices. So what that means is suffering for the people.
I think the problem with the rise in inflation in food prices and other items generally has to do with you have more goods and less buying power by the populace. There's less money to buy the goods, and of course this is spiraling into a situation where we're going to go beyond inflation but stagnation.
They call on the federal government to deviate from using its policies to curb inflation rate by thinking outside the box in checking the rise in inflation.
Sure, the government as it is today is confused because they still rely on the monetary explanation of inflation, they still rely on using the monetary policy in curbing inflation. But of course, today, you know, those policies cannot work, especially when you discover that inflation and unemployment are going to the same direction.
There is a lot the federal government can do better. There's a lot they can also do. The idea of palliative has never been a solution. Palliatives are meant to be temporary. What the federal government should have done, when you have a high, you removed subsidy from petroleum products, if you do not caution the effect, it's going to definitely spiral.
In finding a solution to the monthly inflation rise, the federal government have been advised to embrace proactive policies that will be visible to all Nigerians in ensuring that prices of goods and services are reduced for the betterment of its citizens. From Delta State, Daily Faso reporting for Galaxy News.
In a bid to strengthen maritime security, the Nigerian Senate has advanced a bill to repeal and amend the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA) Act of 2007. The intention was made known during a public hearing held at the National Assembly. Correspondent Gulujo reports that the bill's advancement follows deliberations of March 4, 2024, where the Senate discussed the general principles of the NIMASA Act. Stakeholders at the committee expressed support for the repeal, emphasizing that it would align NIMASA with global best practices. Dayo Mubirola, the Director General of NIMASA, highlighted the benefits of the proposed amendment. In his statement, he envisioned that the amendment would empower the agency to impose fines of offenders without needing court actions, thus streamlining enforcement processes.
By the Lloyd's Assurance from the world list assurance premium of the country. So our funding has to be sustained, and as the military personnel here know very well, that funding is the key for them to be able to continue their work.
However, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, represented by a senior officer, raised concerns on behalf of the Nigerian Navy. While supporting the repeal, he noted that a section of the Act mandating NIMASA to provide security could lead to conflict in responsibilities between NIMASA and the Navy.
We welcome the review and the repeal of the NIMASA Bill and Act, respectively. However, there are some issues the Nigerian Navy has noted in the proposed bill, which could cause conflict in the discharge of Nigerian Navy responsibility as well as the functions of other agencies.
Senator Wasiu Eshinlokun, chairman of the Senate Committee on Marine Transport and representative of Lagos Central, emphasized the 10th Senate commitment to enhancing maritime security. He noted that the amendments are in line with global best practices and President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
The country to maximize the benefits which abound in the maritime industry and the blue economy. Accordingly, this public hearing is tailored towards enacting an enduring legislation that will stand the test of time and in line with the best and global practices.
A coalition of civil society organizations with focus on revenue and economy has said that effective management of the tax system is the major solution to increase the value of Naira. The executive director of the Association of Concerned Citizens of Nigeria on Revenue and Economy and Tax Analyst Orji Philip gave this indication while addressing journalists in Abuja. He said the establishment of the Independent Revenue Inspectorate Agency of Nigeria, IREN, will generate over $40 billion, which is over 50 trillion naira in the present dollar rate per annum, and will enable Nigeria to integrate into the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. OECD and UNDP tax inspectors without borders, automatic information sharing against illicit financial flow, transfer pricing, base erosion, and all manner of international tax frauds. He said the iron proposed bill, which has passed second reading in the 10th House of Representatives with the title National Tax Crime and Oversight Commission, NTCOC, would surmount the current economic challenges Nigerians face.
It must be from tax. What do we do? If you don't collect international tax, you are limited to collect the local tax. You are limited to your currency alone, which may be difficult for Nigeria to survive. That is the reason of this inflation, the rise of foreign currency, and so on. Let me tell you, the international citizens in Nigeria, people thought it's only Dangote that is rich. It's not true. Nigerians own rolling mills, steel rolling mills overseas.
Audio explained that the bill also seeks to promote economic efficiency and effectiveness in administering the national tax system, detect, deter, and fraud in the taxation programs of government and operations with a view to protecting the taxpayers' rights.
Politics with our life. This is not about whichever party you belong to, whichever region, which ethnic group you come from. The hungry don't know the language you speak. Hungry is hungry everywhere. So Nigeria has the capacity to generate over 60 trillion naira per annum. And because I know where the money is, I have told government, don't give me upfront payment. Bring requisite requirements. Let us connect to the OECD, tax inspector without border.
President Bola Tinubu congratulated Justice Stella Anukam on her re-election as judge of the African Court on Human and People's Rights for another term of 6 years. In a statement released on Saturday, Chief Ajurin Galale, special advisor to the President's Media and Publicity, said Justice Anukam was re-elected at the African Union Media Coordination Meeting Executive Council in Accra, Ghana on Friday. The Nigerian obtained her law degree from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, formerly known as University of Ife, Osun State, Nigeria, in 1984 and was called to the Nigerian bar in August 1985. She's also a chartered secretary, chartered arbitrator, and seasoned administrator. Ngalale said President Tinubu commends Justice Anukam for her contributions to the development of human rights jurisprudence on the continent and enjoins her to continue to bring her invaluable knowledge and insight to the African Court. The President stated that his administration will continue to support the candidature of competent and qualified Nigerians for international positions, noting the country's strategic importance in the global community. The growing rate of unemployment among the youth in Nigeria has largely been responsible for social dislocation, translating into a bulging, youthful, energetic, unemployed population with no contribution to the economic growth of the country. Correspondent Kunle Ojo in this report examines the implications of graduates with no jobs on economic growth and social well-being of the society. The report.
The International Labour Organization has linked unemployment in Nigeria to the phenomenon of jobless growth, increased number of school graduates with no matching job opportunities, a moratorium of employment in many public and private sector institutions, and continued job losses in the manufacturing and oil sectors. In addition, the ILO said the recent economic growth in Nigeria has not resulted in a rapid reduction of poverty or in the creation of sufficient decent jobs for the young and rapidly growing labor force.
A student should be able to leave the classes, graduate, and from the four walls of university be able to take life into their hands and move on.
We discovered that many people are unemployed, not because there are no jobs to do, but because they don't have skills, therefore require skills, marketable skills that will grant them employment.
The reason why we have the rates of mushroom growth of unemployment is because people are still waiting for white-collar employment. What happens to those other people in ICT? What happens to people who make hair? What happens to people who make shoes? Some of the brands are made by Nigerian people. So you need to look beyond the limitation of white-collar employment. That's what we
Nigeria's inability to engage a large proportion of our youth meaningfully through job creation has been potentials for social dislocation. The dire unemployment situation many graduates and those with advanced education in the country face is a cause for widespread concern. This is worrisome as it translates to a budding, youthful, energetic unemployment population with no contribution to economic growth of the country. Each academic year, universities and polytechnics admit close to 2 million students and produce about 600,000 graduates. This explains the essence of skills acquisition being championed by the current administration, the review of the education policy.
This conversation, and because what the ministry is now doing is to challenge every aspect of our education system, from foundation to tertiary. It's no longer business as usual for us in the ministry. It is our job. We have determined, and all the policies we have fashioned out so far are designed to be transformative. They are designed to raise the level of education not known to this country since our independence.
What then should be the role of all stakeholders in ensuring that this becomes a reality?
I believe that the Nigerian government should do something. They should look beyond just talking policies. They need to take practical actions. I believe that youth, I believe that parastatals, government bodies should come in and support NGOs, support people who are creating opportunity to shun unemployment in Nigeria. I believe together. One of the things I say to people in shun employment is look beyond the limitation of white-collar employment. If white-collar job does not come, what next can you do?
I think we've reached that level that our paper certificates doesn't get to do much for anybody. So it's high time we started doing things with our own hands. Let's shun unemployment. Let's give a campaign towards it. Let's make the nation better. Let's learn a skill for ourselves. Let's do something for ourselves. We don't have to wait for the government anymore. We have to do something for ourselves.
The introduction of entrepreneurship, innovation, ethics, and life and digital skills in schools and training curricula is also a card on the table, while efforts should be geared toward promoting incentives for enterprises to hire new graduates. Government should also consider the implementation of the national gender policy, especially relating to labor and employment and gender budgeting, as well as increased advocacy about the need for increased funding for education. Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. The coalition of northern groups expresses worry over the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira approved by the federal government not being efficient for the Nigerian workers. It is a reason why we come to you shortly. To stay with us. I'm glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle with Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 018-666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Gunmen suspected to be militias have killed 18 people, injured 2 others, and destroyed properties worth millions of naira in Mbache Council Ward of Katsinala, local government area of Benue State. The incident happened at about 11 p.m. on Friday night, July 19, 2024, when some of the villagers were fast asleep. the armed bandits suspected to be from Sankara stormed the village in large numbers and opened fire on innocent people inside. Caretaker Committee Chairman of Katsina Local Government Area, Justin Shaku, confirmed the attack to newsmen on the phone in Makurdi, saying 18 people were killed and 2 injured. The council boss said soldiers were contacted about the incident before they arrived. The bandits wreaked havoc and left the scene. The police public relations officer, SP Catherine Anene, who also confirmed the attack, said she would revert with details when she is fully briefed by officers on ground who are currently carrying out investigation. Residents in some parts of Makurdi metropolis have been displaced from their homes following the heavy downpour yesterday, Friday, which lasted overnight till this Saturday morning. The heavy rainfalls, which flooded many houses, including churches, destroyed several properties and foodstuff, leaving many stranded of where to go. While some of the displaced residents along Maka Road, Idie, High Level, Logo 1, Urukom, George's Quarters, among others, are calling on government to assist them reconstruct and open up drainages to ease flow of flooding waters, and others cry for foodstuffs. Meanwhile, determined to ensure activities of trafficking in young persons, particularly underage girls from rural communities and among those displaced, is tackled and brought to an end in Benue State, the state government gave the assurance in Makurdi, stating that it will deploy all necessary measures in collaboration with the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to ensure traffickers are brought to book. The Special Advisor on Security and Internal Affairs, Joseph Har, who stated this, says government is worried about the development and is working to ensure it does not happen again. Situations where underage girls are taken away for exploitation and prostitution outside the state or country. While emphasizing on the recurring decimal, observed that for those who have been rescued, government will ensure they are empowered and prosecute the traffickers according to the law.
They didn't go to do prostitution. They were forced into this. And we want to rescue them. In my capacity as a man that protects life and property on behalf of His Excellency. And they're going to get them involved in the training. It won't be a big deal for my governor to do 1 or 2 things to see that these guys are settled.
Students of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, has called on the federal government to review its education curriculums towards aligning with today's reality. Chairman FUNAB, Comrade Habib Adile, made this known at work as part of activities lined up for the student body election in the university. The walk, which saw students and members of FUNEC carrying placards with inscriptions including "Your vote is your right," "Exercise your civic right," "Be responsible to participate," among others. In his address, Comrade Adileye said the walk sought to educate and sensitize students on the importance of political participation, as well as encourage students to participate because it is their civic right. The FUNEC chairman said it was important to sensitize students, bring to the fore the need to carry out free, fair and credible elections. On her part, the Deputy Registrar, Student Affairs Division, Urola Badmus, urged the students not to see the contest as a do-or-die affair. She urged them all to work for the overall interest of the student.
We decided to embark on this work because we found the need to educate and sensitize Funabites about the importance of participation in the electioneering activities. If we can ensure that our leaders are people that are educationally oriented, not people that they are concerned about their pockets or anything. So we are going to have people that are responsible. Then we can now address the issue of improving the educational sectors, reviewing curriculum so that we won't be learning from the past. This is 21st century, we should be learning for the future.
As much as possible to ensure that you're able to have a kind of a synergy between all of you. You are all competing for positions to serve your fellow students, your fellow colleagues. Please don't see it as a do or die thing. See it as a service. as far as you see it as a service, you will be ready to do what? To embrace, even if somebody is not a sportsmanship behavior, that when someone wins, since you know that it's not a do or die thing, you will support the others to also what? To serve.
The issue of poor academic performance of students in Nigeria has been of much concern to all and sundry. Galaxy TV's correspondent takes a closer look at the contributory factor to the reoccurring trend and how to end it. The report. Examination, out of 1,842,464 students who sat for the examination, only 0.5% scored above 300, while 76% of the students scored below 200. This development appears like a recurrent performance, as the failure rate at the UTME and other major exams in the past 7 years has been over 70%. Lamenting the recurring low performance among students, stakeholders in the education system traced it back to the drop in quality of education, likewise poor funding to the educational sector in the country.
Public education in Nigeria is falling. Well, many people will say around the world, but our own case is much more terrible because the primary school, which is the basic education that everyone needs, or the basic foundation, is very, very faulty. If you go to our primary schools today, you find out that the people teaching them are themselves need to be taught.
You see students sit for an examination as JAMB, and a large percentage of those students, score below 200, you know that there's a problem. First of all, when you go to our educational centers, the level and quality of education that students receive is on the low, is dwindling.
We have seen a trend in which budgetary allocation to education has continued to go down over the past years. Over the past decade or so, it has hovered around 7%, whereas about between 15 and 20% is recommended by UNESCO for a developing country like Nigeria. So with that trend of reduced budgetary allocation to education, which also shows reduced commitment to education, has also been this same trend of reduced pass rates of secondary school leaving examinations.
Also, the recent approval of 140 as the cut-off mark for admission into the nation's universities and 100 for polytechnics and colleges of education got Nigerians worried at the falling standard in the education system in Nigeria.
Rather than blaming young people for being distracted, we must focus on the real issue that we are not investing enough in using the digital technology that we have today for educational purpose, for a progressive course like education.
Why has JAMB continued to review cutoff mark, over the years? And in reviewing the cutoff mark over the years, JAMB has not been increasing it. Instead, it has been lowering the bar over the years. So whether JAMB says it did not or it did, over the years we have seen it, just review the cutoff mark. And it is not to review it in a way that was higher, it's to consistently lower it. The truth is that no matter how you lower the bar, there are fundamental problems.
140, I think, is rather low, but I won't blame JAMB because they must have scored, put it on a chart and see, okay, how many students got, if we insist that it must be 250. As I said earlier on, our primary education is what we should face.
In providing solutions, the federal, state and local government have been charged to put in more effort in improving the educational system and creating an enabling learning environment for better performances. Nenwarangil Mazaka, Galaxy TV News, Lagos. Chairmen and members of the Governing Council of the 7 state tertiary institutions have been inaugurated by the Benue State Governor Hyacinthe Alia. Governor Alia, who performed the swearing-in ceremony in Makurdi, charged them to bring their wealth of experience to promote good governance and to ensure transparency, fairness and professionalism in all their engagements, stating that education remains the bedrock of the society for all, particularly the younger generation. Responding on behalf of the boards, Paul Chukwuma, Chairman, Benue State University Governing Council and Pro-Chancellor, promised the commitment that members will justify the confidence reposed in them and called on the governor for better funding in critical areas like research and development.
Don't hesitate to take decisive action against any of you found wanting or involved in any unethical practice and conduct. Our collective goal is to uplift our educational standards. You must therefore approach your duties as council chairmen and council members with a sense of utmost integrity, openness, accountability, and professionalism.
The state-owned tertiary institutions need some support in some critical areas. And one of those we must talk about is research and development. We need to begin to interface and link up and bridge the gap between industry and the citadel of learning.
Meanwhile, the 7 councils inaugurated at Benue State University Makurdi with Paul Chukwuma as board chairman, pro-chancellor, followed by Benue State Polytechnic, Bokolo College of Education, Uju and College of Education, Katsina. Others are Akawe Tokula Polytechnic Makurdi, Ekperan Orshi Polytechnic, Yandev and College of Health Technology, Agasha. Nigerians have called on the federal government to immediately find a lasting solution to the skyrocketing increase in prices of goods and services in the country. This reaction is coming as a result of the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira agreed upon by the labor unions and government recently. Galaxy News correspondent Shegun Falomo, who went around Ibadan metropolis to sample the opinions of citizens, reports that the views differ. Some of the people Galaxy News spoke to said it is a welcome development, while some stressed that the increment will only be for the government workers, which will cause another increase in goods and services in the general public. Their views.
Happens to be the minimum week before now, which is 30,000, and looking at what is being agreed by the labor and the government, which is 70,000. One will see that percentage-wise is more than 100%, and it's not actually bad, given the fact that the federal government, the president, has even said that and he has reduced the number of years for review from 5 years to 3 years, which is very good.
Civil servant, but how do I cope? How do I blend in into the system with the present situation in the country? So my view is that it's a good idea for the civil servant, but what of the general public as a whole? It's not a good idea for me, because the thing I feel the government should do is, even if you're paying 20,000 and the cost of commodities are reduced, the high price and fuel is reduced, and the cost of internet is also reduced, and other things in the country, I believe with that, the increment is not really going to help the economy. With
going to implement it. I'm not saying that maybe some states won't, but I'm just saying how many. That's one. Two, yes, 70,000 naira is a lot, but what actually will it solve? How much of the burdens of these civil servants will it assuage? Because the price of commodities has risen, the price of fuel, the price of transportation, and we're not addressing that.
The coalition of northern groups, CNG, has declared that the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira approved by the federal government might not effectively address the economic struggles of Nigerian workers. The national coordinator of the group, Jamilu Charanchi, while addressing journalists in Abuja, acknowledged the government's intention to provide a decent living wage, but criticized the proposed funding mechanism, which involves increasing fuel prices. The CNG argued that this approach would burden workers and exacerbate economic hardship, instead advocating for an alternative solution such as reducing wasteful expenditure, tackling corruption and increasing taxes on luxury goods. It urged President Bola Tinubu to demonstrate political will and courage in addressing the root causes of Nigeria's economic challenges, including rising fuel and electricity costs, food prices, and depreciating naira value.
For a long time, the CNG holds the firm view that increasing minimum wage amid rising inflation, devaluation of the naira, and pervasive economic crisis will never solve the problem of Nigerian workers. While we appreciate the federal government's intention to pay a decent living wage to Nigerian workers, we are skeptical over the federal government's plan to further increase the fuel price in order to fund the new national minimum wage.
The group also criticized the government's policies, including high taxation and the awarding of contracts at inflated prices, often financed by foreign loans. It warned that cosmetic measures would not suffice to elevate the economic hardships and anger of the people, emphasizing the need for more effective and sustainable solutions.
On the needed political will and courage to urgently address the root cause of these problems, that is, rising fuel pump price, hike in electricity tariff, escalating cost of food items, depreciating the value of the naira, and high cost of governance. These problems predated your government, but the policies your government adopted since coming to power have combined to compound these problems, especially the imposition of high taxation on both citizens and businesses.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News. We'll quickly take a break, and when we return, the news continues. To stay with us. We're glad to have you back. President Bola Tinubu has been advised to allow fair trial and refrain from undue interference in the trial of the former governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is also the national chairman of the ruling All Progressive Congress. A coalition of civil society organizations under the umbrella of a committee against oppression and persecution accused the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for shielding former Kano governor Abdullahi Ganduje from prosecution despite fraud allegation totaling billions of naira. Ganduje has repeatedly shunned court appearances and disrespected the legal system, according to KUMAP. The body, in a statement issued by the chairman of the Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, Magaji, accused the EFCC of selective prosecution, targeting individuals perceived to be in the bad books of certain political interests, while treating others as untouchables. It called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene and ensure a fair corruption fight, warning that the EFCC's action might undermine the president's anti-corruption effort and damage Nigeria's image. The Federal Housing Authority says, as part of the President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, over 1,000 housing units in urban and rural Abuja, including 375 units in Buhari and other in Apo and Guzape, will be commissioned in December. The MD/CEO Federal Housing Authority, Oyetunde Ojo, made the announcement at a 3-day retreat in Kaduna. The focus is to enhance the authority's ability to provide improved housing solutions in alignment with the present government vision through innovation, strategic partnerships, and collaborative effort. The MD/CEO of the Housing Authority acknowledges past challenges but emphasizes the commitment to reinventing the FHA to meet people's housing needs. Governor Obasani, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, underscores the fundamental importance of housing to human dignity and outlines his administration's comprehensive approach to tackling the housing crisis.
Required an estimated 21 trillion naira, and data from the central bank indicates that only 10% of Nigerians aspiring to own homes can actually afford to do so. Devising effective strategies to address housing deficits at both federal and state levels has become an urgent and strategic necessity. Distinguished participants at this retreat, it is important to understand that enhancing efficiency and effectiveness of the Federal Housing Authority will require a collaborative effort from each and every one of you.
As I can speak to you, there will be 2 commissioning in December. There will be one in Buhari, 375 units, and the Akpo Gusape will be commissioned. That's on a PPP, that's about close to 1,000 houses. And as we speak, by next month, we will start our phases in 2 states in geopolitical region. And I can say it boldly, and I want to use this opportunity to thank the executive directors of Federal Housing Authority, the Mortgage Bank, the Power. You won't believe, by the time we roll out by September, October, you are going to see, it's going to be in phases.
The authorities are leveraging emerging technologies, partnering with investors, and implementing housing schemes to ensure safe, affordable, and secure housing for all Nigerians. The women wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria, WAWICAN, has taken steps in a fight against gender-based violence (GBV) with the launch of its sensitization program for religious and traditional leaders. In her welcome address, the national chairperson of WAWICAN General Lady Superintendent Elizabeth Akin-Adewa highlighted the urgent need for this initiative. She explained that the high prevalence of GBV in Kajola local government area prompted the association to take action, particularly in Ayetoro Oke town. With the support of UN Women, WAWICAN plans to expand this fundamental program to other states, including Enugu, Taraba, Plateau, Benue, and Rivers State. The Oyo State chairperson of the organization, Lady Dr. Patricia Obi, reinforced the commitment, stating that they will remain in Ayetoro Oke until GBV prevalence is near zero, as her declaration underscored the unwavering resolve of the organization to ensure the safety and well-being of women and girls. Dr. Dare Adara Moye, executive who gave a keynote address, provided a compelling lecture on the root causes of GBV, such as ignorance, traditional myth, and religious misperceptions. He called for the abolition of harmful traditions while preserving beneficial ones, highlighting the need for informed and proactive measures.
Knowledge, attitude and practice studies conducted by UNICEF in 2015, it shows that Kajola local government has 98% prevalence rate of female genital mutilation. And you know, various community interventions conducted in these communities has also revealed to us that cases of gender-based violence are on the high side. We cited so many examples, and we've been able to, you know, open the sight of religious leaders to this menace, and we spelled out their role as it relates to prevention and elimination of this gender-based violence.
The men, we beg them not to be too harsh, not to be harsh to their wives and to their girl child. They should pamper them, take care of them, be the best man to them. The women, be loving to your husband, be submissive to your husband, be capable to support your husband, because why there are gender-based violence at times is because of the lack of economic value in the.
And I'll move over to the foreign desk for more news. Hello and welcome to Foreign News. At least 40 Haitians have been killed at sea and several people were injured after their boat caught fire, the International Organization of Migration said. The The boat, which was carrying more than 80 people, departed from Fort St. Michael in northern Haiti on Wednesday for the Turks and Caicos Island, a 250 kilometers journey, the IOM said, citing the country's migration authority. The boat caught fire off the coast of Cap Haitian in Haiti's north, according to United Nations Migration Agency, which said 41 people were rescued by the Haitian Coast Guard. 11 people were being treated for injuries, including burns. People on the boat used matches to light candles in a ritual to ask for a safe passage, leading gasoline-filled drums to catch fire and explode. Jean-Harry Petit, who heads the Civil Protection Office in northern Haiti, told the Miami Herald newspaper. This devastating event highlights the risk faced by children, women and men migrating through irregular routes, demonstrating the crucial need for safe and legal pathways for migration. At least 11 people have died and more than 30 are missing after a highway bridge partially collapsed during the torrential rains in northwest China. The bridge over a river in Shanxi province, Shangulu City, collapsed on Friday night due to a sudden downpour and flash floods. Rescue teams have recovered several vehicles that fell into the river, with efforts still underway, according to authorities. Chinese President Xi Jinping had urged an all-out effort to find those still missing. The 11 dead were found in 5 cars that were pulled from the river below. This has thought 20 more vehicles plunged into the water, according to available information. According to Xinhua, officials sent 736 firefighters, 18 boats and 32 drones to the scene. At least 5 people were killed in flooding and mudslides in another part of the province. Large parts of northern and central China have been battered since Tuesday by rains that have caused flooding and significant damage. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was in northern Cyprus to mark 50 years since the invasion by Turkish forces, has said he sees no point in continuing United Nations-led negotiations on the Mediterranean island future. Northern Cyprus is a breakaway state recognized only by Turkey, and its Turkish Cypriot leadership wants international recognition. Erdogan attended a military parade in North Nicosia to mark the day in 1974 when Turkey launched its offensive. Cyprus has since been split by ethnicity, with Greek and Turkish Cypriots living on either side of a UN-patrolled border. Peace talks have long been stalled as Greek Cypriots want reunification as a federation, and Turkish Cypriots have called for a 2-state settlement. The last round of talks in Crans-Montana, Switzerland, collapsed in 2017. And still on foreign news, businesses and services around the world were slowly recovering after a massive technology outage wreaked havoc across the world and raised questions about the vulnerability of the global interconnected economy. A faulty software update caused the unprecedented outage, grounding flights, knocking out financial companies and news outlets, and disrupting hospitals, supermarkets, small businesses and government offices. By Saturday, several services were back online, but George Kurtz, the CEO of U.S. cybersecurity company, whose botched software updated on its Falcon sensor hit Microsoft Windows operating system, cautioned that the total recovery could take weeks. CrowdStrike said it had rolled out a fix for the problem, and Kurtz said he wanted to personally apologize to every organization, every group and every person who has been impacted by the widespread glitch. Tunisian President Kais Saied has said that he will seek a new 5-year term in an election set for October. Saied's announcement comes as the opposition says fair and credible elections cannot be held unless imprisoned politicians are released and the media is allowed to do its job without pressure from the government. Speaking from the southern region of Tataouni, the 66-year-old said he was answering the country's scared call, which left him no choice but to run for a second term. In July, Said called the presidential vote for October 6. Several potential challengers who had announced their candidacy are either in prison or being persecuted. In his announcement, Said called on everyone preparing to sponsor to stay off any corruption. Lotfi Meri, the head of the opposition Republican Union Party, received an 8-month sentence early on Friday on a charge of vote buying and a lifetime ban on running for president. And finally, on foreign news, a former Ukrainian nationalist MP has died after being shot on the street in the western city of Lviv. Irina Farion caused controversy in 2023 by suggesting that true patriots of Ukraine should not speak Russian under any circumstances. The 60-year-old linguistic professor is being investigated, and police say it may have been a targeted attack. Her attacker has not been identified. Police say a power outage affected CCTV in the area. Viv Regional Governor Mixom Kozivs said that Ms. Farion died in hospital after the shooting. Interior Minister Ihor Kilmenko said this was not a spontaneous killing and police were looking for a motive. They have several versions. The main ones, they say, are social and political activities and personal dislike. We do not rule out that the murder has a commission character, he added. President Volodymyr Zelensky also said a major police operation was underway. All versions are being investigated, including the one that leads to Russia. The hardline nationalist Svoboda political party, Ms. Farion, was a member of blamed Russia directly for the killing. And that's all we have on the foreign news. And that's all we have on Galaxy Primetime News. Thank you so much for being a part of the news. My name is Nenwarang Yamazaka. Goodbye.